Hello and welcome to CAD Dungeon Edition. I'm working in my basement. I can stand up at this workbench, so anyway, that's a change of scenery. Let's get into assemblies. So the first issue that I run into is that the part right shown here isn't actually linked as a single part. So I have opened this document and I started making an assembly out of this document. I inserted the parts that I made in this file, and now I'm going to direct you to the different mating tools. To be quite frank, I haven't used all these, and it's a little different from Inventor. In fact, I kind of wanted to get into this yesterday, but I just ran out of time to get stuff assigned to classes. So instead, I just figured, hey, introduce you to inserting stuff. So for this part, the first thing I'm going to identify is that you can click and drag, move stuff. You have the transform tool too. It's a little, whoa. Hey. Alright, so I'm going to just insert the parts one by one so you can see this. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Alright. Now that I got my 3 parts, I need to assemble these together. And to be quite honest, the one that I attempt is this fastened mate. Okay, so you can either connect edges or you can connect surfaces. Here I'm going to connect edges because that's going to limit it in multiple dimensions. What I mean, if you look at this object on the screen, you'll see we've got the X, Z, and Y directions. If I lock it to one surface, it's still going to be able to slide. Like if my hands, okay, if I were to lock them, okay, like this, I could still slide this way, and I could still slide this way. So we need to lock it in 3 dimensions. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use a fastened mate for this curve. Now this curve is more than just one plane, so, oh wow, okay, hold on. Fastened mate, I'm going to use the edge of this thing, I'm going to use this bottom edge of that, and yeah, just one more time so you see it. Fastened mate, I click just the edge that I want to have lined up with the bottom of this. I click, and it gives me a preview, and it looks good. It looks like it's set up. I could flip things around. I don't want to. There's rotation, so I don't want to do that either because it looks like a... I guess it doesn't look bad. Yeah, you can rotate it, but I don't care. Alright, you got that. I'm going to fasten the other one. So once again, I'm going to use just that edge. I'm going to use this edge, and here it's working. Now if it doesn't work for you, go back, make sure you just selected the edge, because if you select like a whole surface, yeah, in fact, let me show you real quick. If I select this entire surface, and you see it's got multiple edges, now I select this entire surface. It sets me up centralized to that, and that's not what I want. And I'm guessing there's ways of editing this, but to be quite frank, I think it's better to just do it right the first time. Carefully select, say OK, and now I've got my fastened part. Okay, now we got that, let's move on to the other document. So, let's see. At this point, what am I doing? I'm going to open up the thing that I started making yesterday, the cap screw, which really shouldn't be named that, but c'est la vie. Anyway, we need to insert our newly linked up stuff. So other documents, recently opened, bearing, cool. Get that in. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some other ones. We need to use, I believe, there's slider mate. That's going to let that go in and out. That, I think, would be good for the bearing, so you can show it popping in and out. Here's cylindrical mate. That's a pretty good one too. Pin slot mate. Okay. Let's try this out. So we got this one, and I'm going to link it in here. Okay. And now let's try this bottom right here. This circle. Putting it linked here. Nope, cancel it. Cancel it. Alright, and I'm playing around with this a little bit because it's still new to me as well. And I have to play around with it more. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up basically in the way that it should be done. So here I'm having good luck with the slider mate for the cylinders. Cylindrical mate seems to be pretty good. The pin slot mate is doing weird stuff. I don't understand it. So what I'm going to start off with is we'll do a slider mate. No, cylindrical mate. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I pick the surface that I want to have connected. So here is a critical aspect. Here I'm at the bottom of this thing. That gives you 3 different points. It's the ends and the center of that cylinder that you've made. You want to make sure that you pick the correct spot, because otherwise it's going to be falling into the material, and you don't want that. If it isn't lined up, you can also click this reorient secondary axis, and that's helpful. So we just commit, and we're good. Now, slider, same deal. We're going to pick, let's see, we want to make sure we pick the surface, and then we're going to pick the inside right there. And that is not the way we want. That's the way we want. So just to tell you what I did, they have this flip primary axis. Right now, they are within each other. That's no good. When I flip it, it's going to be like a little cap that pops on. Say solve. We're good. And honestly, there should be a way to test the movement, but it slides my stuff all around. This is extra work I got to do. I'll figure it out. If you figure it out, tell me, please. And then same thing with the screws. You're going to insert the screws, and then the block, you're going to want to put that underneath the bottom. Alright, I've added my block here, and this one we're going to do a planar mate. So that means it's going to share the same surface. Let's see. So let's start here. We got this plane. This corner tip we want to match up with this corner tip. So once again, all I did, I said planar. And here I'm telling it what things should line up with each other. So I said I want this bottom edge, this, get on the correct surface here. On this surface, this bottom middle point should line up with the top middle point of this. So I click that, I say solve, good. Now, it's also making my life miserable by not locking in all 3 dimensions here. And it like makes copies of stuff. I don't fully understand what's going on with that. I'm going to play around with it more. You do the same and make it look like the image in the document that I sent you.